Mr. Speaker, since the reversal of the trend towards gender equality, beginning with calls for more rights for women in the late 1960s, which was further amplified after the Beijing conference, the contribution of women towards shaping the world for a better future has been significant. Mention can be made of the likes of Margaret Thatcher of the United Kingdom and Angela Merkel of Germany, who played critical roles in different times toward creating a better world for all. Indeed, in recent times, evidence suggests that countries led by women have performed relatively better in managing the COVID-19 pandemic. New Zealand's Jacinda Ardern is a shining example. Thankfully, in Ghana, progress has also been made in bridging the gender inequality gap. Over the years, access to education for girls has been enhanced, and the free SHS program by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has been a game changer in that regard. In terms of political participation, the number of female members of parliament has increased in the 8th parliament relative to that of the 7th parliament, a development that bodes well for Ghana. Indeed, as a country, we have had 2 women Chief Justices. We have had a woman Speaker of Parliament. We've also had 2 women serve as Attorney Generals. And currently, we have one of our own, a former female MP, serving as a Chief of Staff. Mr. Speaker, despite the progress made to purge the world of gender inequality, women across different jurisdictions continue to be denied access to opportunities, development that can be attributed to the prevalence of certain cultural and institutional barriers which militate against them. In this day and age, some people still uphold the view that the place of a woman is in the kitchen. In this day and age, female politicians continue to be maligned. In this day and age, Mr. Speaker, women who express interest in politics are subjected to insult and cyberbullying. Evidently, there's more work to be done to totally bridge the gender inequality gap. Our success or otherwise in the pursuit of this endeavor depends on members of this House, particularly my fellow female members of Parliament. We must work at all times to project issues that confront women while urging Parliament to pass laws that eliminate cultural and institutional barriers that contribute to the widening of the gender inequality gap. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, female members of Parliament must continue to play the role of mentors to many young ladies as possible who aspire to become leaders in our society. They must serve as shoulders upon which they can achieve their dreams, goals, and aspirations. Before I conclude, Mr. Speaker, let me also state that the current composition of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic and the difficulties that have confronted same underscore the need for female MPs to show leadership towards consensus building. May I therefore use this opportunity as we celebrate International Women's Day to urge all female MPs on both sides of the House to show the way in collaborating towards consensus building. We, as females, have an obligation to project to Ghanaians and the world that we can be different, that we can work together with love, empathy, and care to ensure adversarial politics from Parliament and contribute meaningfully towards development of our dear nation. Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given to me. Yes. I'm grateful.
Mr. Speaker, it is popular knowledge that back in the day, women were not encouraged to go to school. I recall that not too long ago, we had the Send Your Girl Child to School song and promotion, which was aimed at increasing the number of enrollment, retention, and completion of girls who go to school. We have moved on as a country. Now we ask you, are we positioning ourselves to help women who want to dare to break the barrier of venturing into professions that are so-called male-dominated areas? I take this opportunity to celebrate the few who have done amazingly well and set the records and left a legacy. I celebrate Esther Oklu. I celebrate Mrs. Baita of Flair. I celebrate Joyce Bar Mukhtari in the legal firm. I celebrate all the female speakers who have passed through here. I celebrate Honorable Hannah Tete, who was once upon a time in this chamber and who is doing amazingly well around the world, making us all proud as women and as Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, if we support many more women and females and girls to achieve their dreams, I am sure that we will have many more women to celebrate for our country. It is good that the Lord created men, realized that he had made a few mistakes and improved on his creation by bringing the woman into the world. And after he created that, he decided that my work is done. Mr. Speaker, we cannot keep that number of women outside of the business of development when God has told us that we should go and take dominion over the earth. Why are we moving on that journey and leaving a lot of the women behind? Mr. Speaker, the world, and especially Ghana, must make room for the special creation to be at the table, not to serve coffee, not to only provide their skills in keeping the accounts clean, because when a woman is in charge of the purse, we do a good job. I am sure we are all here, we can testify to that. But if we allow any more women, I'm sure that our country will be the better for it.
Today has been set aside as a special day where the prowess of the woman and the contribution of the woman must be recognized and celebrated. Mr. Speaker, women hold very special position in society. Wherever there are women, there is excitement. Wherever there are women, there's a difference. It's not even for no reason why, even where you have all males school, among the teachers, definitely you find a female. Across the world, we know that women have special contribution they offer to nation building and many facets of our economies. But we must recognize the fact that women suffer some biases. Women suffer obstacles. There are a lot of barriers that confront women, and together, particularly men, must lead a charge in removing some of those barriers, in removing some of those biases, so tomorrow we can have a sustainable tomorrow. The statistics indicate that across the world, at the aggregate stage, we have almost a 50-50 population of males and females. And that must reflect in equal representation wherever the table is set up. And not only in Ghana, but across the world. We are advocating strongly a gender parity of 1 in schools, in hospitals, in parliament, in farms, in industry, wherever that some undertaking of importance is going on, we must push for a gender parity of 1. Mr. Speaker, it is interesting that one of the notable quotations that is oftentimes referred to, and in this room, my earlier speakers had made reference to, which speaks to the core of women empowerment, was moved by a man, Dr. Kweju Agri, that when you educate a man, you educate an individual. But when you educate a female, you educate a nation. That goes to indicate strongly that men have a significant place in advocating for equality for women, for creating the opportunity for women to come to the table.
Mr. Speaker, gender biases. When you talk of gender biases, sometimes it is an unconscious effort. People always see others, look at them with a glass of being a particular gender, especially she being a woman is seen as the weaker side, or the weaker person. He being seen as a male is seen as a stronger person. But what I want to assure Mr. Speaker is that women look outside soft, but we are inner strong. We have so many parts in us that we can do the job. There is a saying which says that the job that what man can do best, what men can do, women can do it best. And looking at women that has been given positions at various places, we can see how they are faring in those places. Mr. Speaker, upon this note, we are asking our male who have been there or who are there because they've been there for a long time to hold hand in hand with us, give us the support, and then they raise us up to come up. We are asking that males should help women to climb up to the ladder, not to rather discourage us, because when we are being encouraged, it is for their own good. Assuming a household where the man is the only breadwinner in the house, the man suffers, the children suffers. But when when the woman is also brought up and the woman is also on the same level, you can see the flourishing of that particular house. So, Mr. Speaker, based upon this, we are celebrating all women and we are urging our men counterparts. We know some of our men are already with us. When you talk about female or women issues, they are with us. But we are urging them all, since we are moving in a slower pace, for them to hold us up, to climb up to the ladder, so that together we can all contribute to the economic and social life of this country or the world. Or we can all come up and contribute our quota to the world. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I dare to say that when women are in positions, Mr. Speaker, I dare to say that they do better than men. Mr. Speaker, I also dare to say that if the finance minister were a woman, we will not find ourselves in this situation that we find ourselves in Ghana. I dare to say that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so in short, what I'm saying is that women, we can perform, we can do better at times when we are put in certain positions. So in the next NDC government, I am advocating that the defense minister should be a woman. The minister for defense should be a woman. The minister for interior should be a woman. The finance minister should be a woman. So that Ghana will move forward in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, as we celebrate the International Women's Day, I would like to take this opportunity to salute the 40 women in Parliament who, out of all odds, have fought very well to be representatives of the people. I salute them, including myself. Mr. Speaker, I also salute non-governmental organizations like Abantu for Development. I salute Star Ghana. I salute the European Union, just to mention but a few, for advocating for gender equality in Ghana and in other nations. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I thank you for the opportunity.
I think, Mr. Speaker, we must start identifying the very little things our girl child are doing so well and raise the recognition of those ones in order for the world to appreciate the fact that women can do even much better given the opportunity in any role and in any assignment. Mr. Speaker, there are some other areas that our women could help themselves. By nature, the woman is defined and has come to be sympathetic towards somebody else even more than herself because of their upbringing. The woman will cry for the child first before even thinking of herself. These have carried them through into their world of work. But this should not be a limiting factor. We must encourage them to use this good thing to try to push even further. We witnessed in this country when there was promotion of send your girl child to school, send your girl child to school. It got to a point we had more girl child in the basic level than even we had the men. So it means if we intentionally put some effort in trying to break the bias, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to achieve it. It's our wish that next time we meet in the 9th Parliament, we may have many more of our women joining us in places where some men do not want to come back on their own. The replacement may be women, because I don't know which man I'll be telling to drop for another woman to come. In places where a man don't want to come, I pray that the replacement will be a woman, so we could have more of the women joining us in this house.
Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. It gives us the opportunity to reflect the position of women in our society. The UN Women have put this aptly, and with your kind permission, I quote how they put women in society. They say, gender inequalities remain deeply entrenched in every society. Women lack access to decent work and face occupational segregation and gender wage gaps. They are too often denied access to basic education and health care. Women in all parts of the world suffer violence and discrimination. They are underrepresented in political and economic decision-making process. Mr. Speaker, for the purposes of my contribution, I will look at the underrepresentation in political and economic decision-making. Mr. Speaker, need I look further than the Ghana's parliament today, the 8th parliament? Today, women are not celebrating mediocrity. In the 7th parliament were only 34 women, and 8th parliament, 40 women. We are not celebrating that increase. We want to celebrate proper increase. 6 is not good enough. What are we doing as a country to encourage many more women to come to parliament? What we do is to pay lip service to gender inequality. What pragmatic steps are we taking to have more women in parliament? Mr. Speaker, Tavadi in 2019 did a survey of 29 countries on gender and climate change, and same published in European Journal of Economy. The survey, Mr. Speaker, revealed that women's representation in national parliament leads to the adoption of more stringent climate change policies, resulting in lower emissions. At the local level, women's participation in natural resource management, according to the study, is associated with better resource governance and conservation outcome. Yet, as a country, we have not done much in bringing women to parliament. One will say that women don't put ourselves to come to parliament. Women do, but we need the enabling environment to survive. Today is International Women's Day. It is not a pity party. We are not looking for sympathy. We are just looking for the enabling environment to showcase our intelligence, to showcase our super competence. That is all we ask for today, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate all women in Ghana, women in Parliament, and especially women in Ladade Kotopon for the hard work they are doing. Mr. Speaker, I want to support or congratulate the market women out there. We all know that these market women are contributing their quota, they are working so hard and supporting the men to take care of our children. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the call for to break the bias in the sense that as these women work so hard to educate their children, the children have grown. There are girls in there, there are women in there, and so there is a need for the men to support us even as we come up. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about, when we talk about women in the market or in the informal sector, I want to talk about the likes of Dede Ashkishan. If we recall, during the Nkrumah days, she supported Kwame Nkrumah during the independence. And these are women that we have forgotten about. She supported with her money that she had accrued from her trading activities. Mr. Speaker, I would also want to mention Esther Oklu of Nkulenu. She was an entrepreneur who worked so hard, and today, because of her, we have the palm nuts in cans. Mr. Speaker, women have worked so hard, women have come so far, and I believe it is time for the men to support us to move forward.
Mr. Speaker, our current president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he needs a serious applause for his acknowledgement of women in politics. Mr. Speaker, if you look at on our side, the majority, the 20 women who are ably represented, you will see that 4 of them are ministers, 8 of them are deputy ministers, 3 of them are committee chairmen, and 2 are vice chairmen of committee, and 1 also representing Pan-African Parliament. This is a serious acknowledgement that the president has been able to make, that out of the 20 women who are ably represented in this house, 12 of them are serving in his government. It is worth noting that the chief of staff, who have been a former member of parliament in this house for Ayawaso West Wagon, is the first female to be a chief of staff. So this is an encouraging part of it. And for that matter, we need to be able to help our women. Today, when you look at our women in this house, you could see that they were in uniform. Every woman today is looking very beautiful.